So, hey guys, thank you so much for joining. Tonight, it's Shooting the Breeze first ever episode, and I thought, let's go big or go home. So, we're live on YouTube over here. I want to say thank you to everyone that's liked, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. It generally means a lot to me, especially just starting this journey. As I've said prior, I don't particularly know if this is going to stick, this is going to land, this is going to grow, but bear with me. Tonight's guest is something that's very close to my heart. We're talking mental health, especially in kids. As a father myself, my daughter's 13 this year, S1 in high school. The stress that comes with that, I'm sure I don't need to really explain. But joining me will be Dani Brooks, who is starting her own mental health and kids charity called Mental Health Warriors. It's all over on the Facebook. So we'll get that advertised for you at some point during the night. Actually, it's kind of like rolling about there. There we go. So, without further ado, let's bring Dani in and welcome her to the show. Hey, Dani, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you so much for being the first ever guest on the show. Apologies for the fact that it's live and nothing like throwing you
No.
right under the bus.
Absolutely fine. Thank you so much for asking. Honestly, I feel so honoured to be on here and to talk about mental health warriors.
Yeah, I was just explaining in the kind of intro there. It's like for me, I've got a daughter. She's just 13. Well, she'll be 13 in April. The pressures of high school, it's something that I feel doesn't really get spoken about. It doesn't really get credit. It
Mhm.
doesn't really, I think in this kind of day and age, it's prevalent and it should be
Yeah,
spoken about more.
yeah,
So,
definitely. I agree.
so mental health warriors. What does it mean to you?
So, mental health warriors, it's genuinely about teaching the young people of Scotland, what exactly mental health is and how we can learn strategies, we can learn coping skills to kind of get through the day and to help us with our moods and such things. So, going back a few years, I kind of started the research, and there wasn't really a lot in terms of things for a certain age group, teenagers. Um, so that's kind of when the idea and stuff started rolling. But I think what it is most importantly, what it means to me is just getting the word out there to our young people that it's okay to have something along the lines of mental health or additional needs. It doesn't make you any less of a person. It doesn't make you different to anybody else. It just means you have this special condition and it just makes you such a unique person.
So, do you think even in 2025 that there's still a stigma around mental health?
There most certainly is still something, some sort of stigma surrounding mental health, especially when it comes to children and teenagers. You see kids and they could have any sort of additional need. You don't know. You see them having that's the thing. I don't like saying the word tantrum, but you would see them having a tantrum in like Tesco's or whatever, and you would see the parent, and they're just like, "Oh God." And you would just get these people in the background who'd be like, off, there's a parent taking another tantrum because they're not getting what they want. And it's like, that's not what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, in doing this as well, I kind of want to educate people so that if they do see that in their Tesco's or Asda or whatever, they'll know, like, it's not just a child having a tantrum because they're not getting their own way. There is an actual reason for that.
Yeah, I mean to be fair, I was like before I had my daughter, I was like that.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to kind of what you were saying about education.
Yeah,
People need to be educated, and it's fine if you don't want to be educated, that's fine. But
yeah,
don't insert yourself into something that you don't know, because that's only going to make you look like an absolute idiot. Do you know?
definitely. And it's the one thing that I hate. I get you can't explain to someone who's never been through anything like this exactly how you feel. But there's nothing wrong with educating yourself on, what these behaviours and everything are, so that you can support people around you, so that you don't look at the mum in Tesco and think it's just a tantrum. You look at the mum and think, right, I know what's going on there. Maybe I can help her.
Yeah, because I mean, I think we're quite quick to blame the parents,
Hmm.
and we don't know
Definitely.
if that's a single parent. We don't know if that parent's struggling financially. I
Yeah.
think we need to show in life, even myself, there's times where, I've caught myself being a bit judgy.
Yeah.
We all do it, but I think we
Yeah.
just need to show a bit more humility in life. And it's difficult because we're not conditioned to in this kind of day and age.
Yeah.
So with the mental health warriors, when did it stop becoming an idea and something that you put into practice?
I'm going to say it was last year, kind of round about this time last year, that I actually started, like, you know what, let's get up and do something with your life. And initially, I wanted to be a youth support worker, but then I started thinking more along the lines of mental health and what I could have benefited from when I was first diagnosed, and
Mhm.
then looking at kind of what isn't available right now. So going from there, it was putting posts out on Facebook anonymously just to get feedback and stuff. And it became pretty evident that youth groups were something that were needing brought back, especially in smaller communities where the kids have got absolutely nothing. They've
Yeah.
got nothing to do after school. They're just kind of walking about and stuff. And a lot of them are getting a bad reputation just because they don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah. I mean, my day job, I work in retail, and as you can imagine, it's sometimes we do get a lot of antisocial behaviour, but a lot of the times that we do speak to them, it is just we find the same answer, and
Yeah.
you're absolutely spot on. It's boredom a lot of the
Hmm.
time. So I definitely do think that there is stuff there that needs looked at, which I think I'm
Yeah.
sure you've probably covered all this, but this is where like Five Council would be the people to approach and things like that, and especially try and get a good working relationship. How is that going in regards to making the connections?
It's going really well. Like, I'm meeting people from different organisations, and I've been asked to go and do a presentation on what it is that I'm actually trying to do here, for the organisation change. I actually going to do that next month, which I'm so buzzing about.
Love it.
But it's honestly, it's so nice talking to other people who can see what I see and feel the kind of way that I feel about things. And it's so refreshing. Everyone's kind of on the same page. We know there's stuff needed for them. It's a case of we need to be the ones that put it in for them.
Yeah. I mean, it's always good to have the connections. I always
Mm.
find it sometimes like making the connection is harder than maintaining the connection, but
Yeah.
you'll know exactly who to hit up and stuff. So
Yeah.
when it comes to where you see mental health warriors now in its infancy, where do you see it in maybe 5 months' time?
In 5 months' time, I want to hopefully be in Dunfermline. Kirkcaldy will have been set up for Rhythm and Grey Scotland. Then it's going into Dunfermline, setting up there. Hopefully, once we've got Dunfermline set up and on the go, I can then go into Glenrothes and then hopefully set something up in Glenrothes.
I
The
love it.
idea isn't to keep this just Fife based.
Yeah.
I want to see this in 10 years' time be something that the whole country is involved in. You know, the whole country has something to do with mental health warriors.
I like that. It's always good that you've got the grounds. You want to start kind of local. You want to use your
Yeah.
connections here, and then they could then put you in touch with somebody kind of higher up, further afield.
Aye.
And there is, the fact that you've got this kind of plan, so to speak. I think it's really good that you've clearly thought about it. You've
Yeah.
clearly got a projection as to where you want to go. How is the application coming in regards to the charitable status? I've kind of dealt with that in the past.
Yeah.
Absolute mind mess.
Do you know what? I'm actually loving it. Like,
Uh,
just learning everything. All this is new to me. Like, I've always worked in like bars, restaurants, stuff like that. But to come out and do something for myself, it's crazy. I just hope that we can get the last spaces filled on the board. And then once we've got all the board, we've had our meeting with FVA and we've got everybody signed on who needs to be signed on, we will be going for charity status. I
I
would
love it.
like to have that done in 6 months' time, but I've kind of realistically gave myself to the end of the year just in case.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're only in February here, so you've got
Yeah,
plenty time, and
definitely.
your goals are realistic. I think.
Mhm.
I come from a bit of like a businessy background through college and stuff. And have you ever heard of what's called a SWOT analysis? It's
No, I don't.
your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Right.
And you could just put everything into these boxes and stuff like that. So you've definitely got something there to work on.
Yeah.
Just quickly there, there's a wee comment here from Suzanne. I don't know if you can see that. She says, mental health is so important, and I think that Dani and others like her are doing a great job getting other people to talk about things and trying to take away the stigma around it. Thank you for your comment, Suzanne.
Thank you, Suzanne. That was lovely.
I know Suzanne. She's absolutely fantastic. And, she comes with her problems, don't you, Suzanne? Um, but I think when you've got people that are on your side, I think that genuinely helps as well.
Yeah.
Because there is nothing worse than like even when I was kind of starting the podcast thing, I was always nervous about it and how it would be
Yeah.
perceived.
Yeah.
Do you ever have kind of I don't want to say doubts, but do you ever have in the back of your mind is like, what if this doesn't take off?
I did last year. When I had to pause the sessions last year because volunteers just unfortunately couldn't stick. Obviously life commitments, these things
Yeah,
happen. Um, I did go into a 2 week kind of depressed period about it. And at the time, I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know if I was going to keep on going. I didn't know if I was just going to say, right, no, this isn't for me. So I let myself feel how I needed to feel about the group and everything. And then it was just a case of recenter and refocusing. Right, the main aim is to have the Mental Health Warrior charity. Let's start getting that promoted. And then we'll promote Rhythm and Groove as being the pilot group for that. And the
yeah,
way that I've kind of done it, it's actually working to the extent anybody that's coming on board at the moment, from volunteers to the board members that I have got, they're just so enthusiastic to come on board and join and see this happen as well. And it really is, it's so refreshing to have.
that's always good to hear. So you mentioned rhythm and groove.
Mhm.
Explain that.
So, Rhythm and Groove Scotland is a sing and dance group for ages 5 to 12 just now. So, we've been learning Nathan Evans' Home.
I
Absolutely
love it.
love that song. The kids love it. What we would do, so it'd be like a 90-minute session. So, we would come in, sit down, have a wee blether, check in with them, see how they were doing and stuff, how their weekend that was going. Then we would get up, we would do vocal warm ups, and we would run through the song a few times. After their break, what we would then do is we would then go and do some ball games. So, one of the ball games that they loved doing, and I was quite, when I first heard, because I'd never heard of this game before, but it was Granny's Underpants. And it's basically you chuck the ball to somebody, you ask a random question like, well, what did you have for dinner last night? And you would have to reply, Granny's Underpants. But you can't laugh. If you
Uh,
laugh, that's it, you're out. But it,
oh,
it was
man.
just so funny. Like, and the kids that were coming, like, I started seeing changes in them. And it was just, wow. It was, oh, I can't explain it. It was just amazing.
Oh, that Granny's Underpants. I've never heard of that one before.
Neither had I actually, but it's become one of their favourites. So,
So how are you finding how are you finding finding a permanent venue for these kind of things?
so at the moment, we're going to be using community centres. What I would love to do, if possible, is to kind of like get into a school, after school finishes and
Aye.
maybe do a club in there. So for the moment, it will be sort of community centre based premises that we will use. When we do go for the charity status, if we are granted charity status, that's when we will go and we will apply for the funding for whatever building we can get at that time and then kind of renovate it into what we'll
Yeah.
be needing it for.
Is there any building that you've got your eye on?
A few, yes.
Oh, you're keeping your cards close to your chest. I like it.
Uh, Honestly, anytime I walk past a building and I see that it's empty, I just visualise what could actually go in there. And, Kirkcaldy High Street, it's not as thriving as it used to be. And I think having some sort of a centre, like what I would like to kind of propose, would bring in so much business as well.
Aye.
Not just for me, but for the local community and the smaller businesses.
Yeah, because I did notice in the Mercat that there was a lot of empty units.
Hmm.
I'm assuming that you wouldn't like to get a unit in the Mercat because then you'd be bound by their opening and closing times. So would you want to go the high street or maybe a little further afield?
If we were doing, say, like an office space, I'd be happy
Aye.
to do that in like the Mercat because that would be the initial working hours.
Aye.
Um, but I think when it comes to certain groups, yeah, we would need to use our community centre. But if we have a group, say, I want to bring in British Sign Language as a class, so if we were able to do something like that in the Mercat, absolutely, I would go for that.
Yeah. I would I'd love to learn BSL. My daughter's got two hearing aids.
Ah,
Um So things like that, I found myself just sitting one night, just YouTubing the
yeah,
basics. So I wouldn't say I'm a pro, but I could kind of get by if I needed to. But I do think I remember actually having this discussion, and I actually believe that BSL should be compulsory in schools. Um,
definitely. I totally agree. They need to take away like French, German, Spanish lessons.
yes, I agree with that, and 'cause the avenue that I went down is not everybody can go to these countries, but
Hmm.
everybody can become deaf.
That's exactly something similar to what I say. I've
So,
always said you're more likely to meet a deaf person than you are a Frenchman or a German.
aye,
So
especially in Kirkcaldy High Street.
definitely.
So, without getting too personal, is there any stories that you want to share in regards to the the mental health journey that you've had that's kind of fueled the fire to start the Warriors?
So my mental health journey started, I'm about to show my age, 23 years ago, when I was first diagnosed with depression. My mum took me to the doctor, and the doctor kind of explained, you'll be going on tablets and stuff, but didn't really give me great insight into what it actually meant to be mentally ill.
That's the thing. I think, like, I was on sertraline for a wee while in
Mm.
2017. I never took it because
Yeah.
I knew better.
Hmm.
Idiot or what?
I'd done that for years. I was on and off medication, in and out of therapy, pushing myself at work to the point I kind of broke, because in 2017 I did have a nervous breakdown after I got my diagnosis for borderline personality disorder. And it's one night that will never ever leave me. It's it's horrible, and I would never wish it on anybody, especially your family members that have to see that, you
Yeah.
know, especially like for my mum mainly. You know, I'm her only daughter. I was living with her at the time, and she sat with me that night as I begged her just to let me go, because I didn't want to be here anymore. But then, coming out on my own, I started working with Penumbra.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Fantastic, honestly, fantastic organisation. Worked with them quite a few times, and it was my support worker at the time, Natalie. Didn't realise it, but she became my biggest cheerleader. And along with other people, she kept telling me how good I was at being insightful about my own mental health. So that's kind of where that all started in terms of the mental health warriors.
Yeah.
But when it comes to my own journey, I'm still on it. It's definitely still in recovery in some way. Um, I've been lucky enough to be self harm free for 3 years now, which I am so happy, buzzing, and so proud of myself.
To be fair, you should be. I know your
It,
mum's. I know your mum's watching the live here. She did put up a wee comment earlier. She should buy you a cake.
did I say that? I love cake, honestly. I love
Good
cake.
listen.
Oh, I could eat cake until the cows come home.
But it's no need KFC though.
See, I can't eat chicken anymore. Honest, I've got 3 cats. They're my babies,
Oh God,
and they're so spoiled. But
oh yes.
they got moved on to the chicken diet. So they just get chicken. And now I can't eat it. I can't look at it. I can't touch it.
Man,
No.
it's one of my go-tos, I must admit.
Used
So
to be mine as well.
so you made a comment about, obviously, like, your mum sat with you, and you kind of broke down.
Yeah.
Like, I've had my own journey, and for a while there, I felt a lot of guilt
Mm.
because I always felt that, you know, I hate using the term, and oh my God, I hate it, but I always felt I should man up
Yeah.
because that's what society kind of conditioned into you.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a period of like guilt almost, or oh shit, I shouldn't be feeling like this. Other people depend on me.
I think what I would say in terms of feeling guilt, it would have been about my behaviour before my diagnosis. A
Okay.
lot of stuff that I was doing, I didn't know, because I was in such a, I'm going to say like a hypermania state, to the
Uh-huh.
point it was euphoric. Like, can't remember a lot of stuff, but I know I did do a lot of horrible stuff, and I was not the nicest of people. So I do get guilty about that, and the way that I've treated people. And it's one of the things that has made me start this charity, is to kind of balance out how I was before as to how I am now, which is two completely different people.
Yeah, I mean, I do always think that the path to forgiveness is trying to make amends.
Yeah,
Um, and by obviously by starting the mental health warriors and like rhythm and groove, and you're trying to put out there, you're trying to give youngsters a an outlet before it gets too bad.
yeah,
Because like showing my age here, I was born in 1982. So, growing up in like the 80s and 90s, like mental
hmm
health just it wasn't it was a thing, but it wasn't a thing, if you know what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah,
And now, because obviously there's been so much media, um, like Caroline Flack,
yeah.
and like, somebody close to my heart was Chester Bennington from Linkin Park.
Oh, I cried. I cried.
I still
Chester
do.
was, mm,
I have the do you know the song One More Light?
yeah.
I have the lyrics tattooed on my ribs.
Oh, wow.
I honestly, when Chester passed, for me it was a case of how how could a man who is adored by hundreds upon hundreds
hmm
of thousands of people be sad?
hmm
And that was like Chester for me was the first kind of celebrity. I use that term loosely because
Yeah,
I don't look at him as a celebrity. I look at him as a human being.
yeah, yeah.
He was a celebrity, a human being with thousands of fans, and you had a
hmm
family, you had a wife, but it wasn't enough for him.
Yeah,
And I remember seeing this quote. You've possibly seen it if you're like a Linkin Park fan. It said something like, um, "How could one man who has saved thousands of people, how could thousands of people not save one man?"
yeah, yeah. I've
And
seen that.
his music to this very day just it's a lot more poignant now.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we kind of touched on that the other day there when we were chatting about self care and music, how that seems to be a lot of people's kind of go to.
Yeah, I think it's not just about the artist who's singing it, it's what they're singing, it's
Yeah.
the words that they're using. And that's one thing that we're teaching the kids, we want them to learn songs that are encouraging and empowering and speak to them.
Yeah,
And that was something I feel Chester was able to do. He was able to speak to you through his songs and kind of tell you how you were feeling without shoving it in your face.
yeah. I definitely do think that there's a lot of his songs now that if you kind of look back, it's like, oh, this dude
Mm.
was asking for help here.
Yeah. I think numb is
Yeah,
yeah.
and heavy.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've got them. Do you know what? I've got every Linkin Park album on my phone.
uh,
I've followed
yeah,
them. I was in first year when they come out, like, and they were just so big when they first come out. Like, they just exploded, and it is a sad loss to the world
aye,
because, like you say, he was just a human being, and it
yeah.
just so happens that he was given this gifted talent, and unfortunately, we're not going to get to hear that.
It's for me, music is like I've got a lot of like musicians that I gravitate towards when I'm in certain kind of moods, and
Yeah,
Chester was up there, for sure. And like you were saying about it's not just the artist, like it's the words that they're singing, and
yeah,
it's not always straight away that you get what they're singing about until it's too late. Just like
yeah,
we've said, eh?
yeah.
Is there any other musician that you kind of like you've got that connection with?
God,
I know we
can
could probably talk about this for hours on end because music genuinely is a saviour to millions, I'd say.
Yeah, it's honestly, I've got over 3,000 songs on my phone. Music is my therapy. You know,
Yeah.
I love, if I'm having a really, really overwhelming day, I will lay on my couch, I will put my headphones on, and I will just play whatever. And I've got such a variety that I kind of shock people a wee bit as well. Um, like I like some sort of classical music. Like I love the Braveheart album. I have it on my phone, and if I'm
Yeah.
having a crappy day, I will put that on because it's for that. It's more the instruments. It's the just, and it's a bit shit in there. Um,
Because I think with instrumental music, you could make up your own kind of story to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like instrumental music because you could just, as you said, just close your eyes
I
and, even for like the 5, 6 minutes that a song's on, you could take yourself to anywhere you want.
definitely, and I think having even just a playlist of certain songs that put you in a good mood. Like if you're having a rough day, put your tunes on and dance it out.
Right?
Do
Oh,
a Christina Yang from Grey's Anatomy and dance it out.
oh
Like
yeah,
you just you feel so much better. It's like a massive release when you're singing and dancing. Like you're having
yeah.
so much fun.
There's
And
a there's another wee comment here from Suzanne. She goes, "Music is one of the things that helps take my mind off my own crap, particularly from a band named Citizen Soldier. I
I
will,
don't think
I
I've
will,
heard of them.
I will Spotify them. I am always on the lookout for new music as well. You can't. I don't think you can go
Yeah,
wrong with new music anywhere.
definitely not.
I mean,
TikTok's kind of good for that.
TikTok has TikTok has given me two tattoos, believe it or not, just from music that I found on TikTok. Um, it's a band called We Three. They were on America's Got Talent many years ago.
All right,
They have a song called Sarah.
right,
Um, it's a trigger warning. It's about an unaliving attempt,
okay.
and that's where that one comes from. The 614, 615, 623.
Oh,
It's I would recommend going to Google that at some point.
yeah.
Um, and then there's possibly one that you've maybe heard on TikTok, Numb Little Bug.
Have I?
You
What is
possibly
it called?
have Numb Little Bug. It's a catchy tune. It was my daughter that let me listen to it. It's a catchy tune. Um,
Yeah, I'll need to have a listen to that.
Aye, again, it's Numb Little Bug is more a catchy upbeat tune.
Yeah,
Um, s- but again, it's about depression and a journey that's yeah.
yeah,
I love music.
yeah. I'm the same. I'd say I kind of got into music through again through my mum. You know,
Aye.
you'd wake up on Saturday, she's in the kitchen with her music on doing the housework, and it's like, oh, mum's cleaning again today. So yeah, she definitely, I would say, influenced the style and the types of music that I would listen to. But
I think
over
everybody
the
takes
years,
that. I
yeah,
think
I think
everybody,
everyone does.
yeah, especially from their parents, because
Hmm.
as I mentioned before we went live there, like my parents are a wee bit like older.
Yeah,
So like my dad used to listen to like Roy Orbison, Gene Pitney,
aye,
Elvis Presley. So
aye,
I'm kind of stuck in that era. But again, for me, like we've talked about, music is has been a savior to millions,
yeah,
millions. But
mhm,
again, like self care in general could be anything. Like,
yeah,
Suzanne's popped another wee comment in there to say, as for my other self care things, pamper days also help, as does spending time with
yes,
friends, going to the cinema, theatre, or her local wrestling shows. that's how I know Suzanne. Suzanne used to come to all the wrestling shows that I used to wrestle at and cheer
Oh,
me
cool.
on and boo me and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, self-care, I think it means so much to so many people, just different things. The one thing that I wished I could do that I never did was I've never learned how to play an instrument.
I am the exact same, and it's I'm surprised that I haven't because my brother, my youngest brother, he actually plays in a pipe band,
Oh,
and he has done for years. Um, so I'm actually surprised that I never went down that route with him.
aye.
Um, but to be fair, I've always been the quieter one. So I was
Yeah.
just always happy to just sit with a book. Like to me, reading a book is one of the best forms of self care that I can do.
See, I don't have the attention span for a book.
I
I think I am 42. I know I don't look it.
wouldn't say shut up.
But no, I'm 1982. And I think I've only ever read 3 books in my whole entire life.
Yeah,
But give me a podcast, give me an audiobook, my headphones, and just kind of just chilling out, lying on my bed with my earphones in, and honestly, game is a good one on that one. But again, it's different for everybody, eh?
yeah. Everyone's going to have their own sort of their own wee self care plan that they do when they are having their day. So whether that's pampering yourself at home, taking yourself for a wee coffee date or something, meeting up with friends. I think everybody needs to do some sort of self care for themselves so that they're able to function.
Aye.
If you don't look
Definitely.
after yourself, if you know, you don't put the right foods in, you know, you don't get enough sleep, anything like that, and you don't function properly. Once
Yeah.
you've got all the wee bits together, that's when you can feel yourself starting to function. And I hate this word, but like a normal person.
Yeah. I mean, I remember like being in my local Witherspoons years ago when I first started kind of when I separated from my previous girlfriend, when I started going through my spiral, shall we say. I remember bumping into an old friend and we were just chatting away and he was like, "So who's the most important person in your life?" And I was like, "Well, that's Sophie, my daughter." And he's like, "No."
Mhm.
He was like, "You are.
Yeah.
Because you need to be okay to look after her."
Hmm.
And I was like, do you know when you get that realization that you're a person as well?
Yeah.
Because we're quite quick to be like, like, truth be told, this is the first time I've ever kind of met you, so to speak. But
Yeah.
you're like me in the sense is you're a caring person, and sometimes you might care about other people too much, and then you kind of just,
Mhm.
by the time a Sunday night comes and you're like, you're just exhausted because you've put
Yeah.
all your eggs into everybody else's basket.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, it was my current support worker who pointed that out to me the other day. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, that is actually true. I put more into my relationships with certain people than I do to myself.
Yeah.
And I was sitting having coffee with my best friend. Was it today? Yesterday? Can't mind. Anyway, she asked me if I loved myself. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I love myself right now. And I know a lot of people can't say that yet. And I say yet because you will eventually learn to love yourself. And there's a quote that I kind of, it's not even a quote, it's like part of song lyrics. And it's, if you can't love yourself, how can you love someone else?
I
And I stick by that. The words of the amazing RuPaul. Love RuPaul.
see. It's so funny where we kind of draw inspiration from, isn't it?
It is. Like a lot of people, obviously, they're not keen on the drag scene and whatever. But for me, it's phenomenal. And there's one song that he does, and the lyrics go, "If I fly or if I fall, at least I can say I gave it all." And that's
That,
something that's always stuck with me as well.
yeah,
Like, I love that.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of the philosophy that I've kind of adopted recently,
Mm.
which is why like I bit the bullet and kind of started this kind of podcasty stuff because I've been planning this for maybe about 2 years now, and
Yeah,
I've always had the whole well, what if it doesn't work out?
yeah.
But what if it does? Do you know what I mean? It's
Mm.
like I always try and tell my Sophie to do her best to like sounds a bit like kind of morbid, shall we say, but if you're lucky enough to have a deathbed, as I would me personally rather like look back and be like, oh, do you remember when I did this? Than
Yeah,
go, I wish I did this.
yeah, definitely. And for me, that's something that I've kind of turned into what I'm calling the bingo card of life. You know, one thing that I want to do so badly is to go up to the north of Scotland, up near Shetlands, to go and see orcas.
Oh
I would,
yeah,
that would honestly make my life. So that's kind of wee things like that I've added to what I've called the bingo card of life.
I love
And
that.
a few years ago, I done something I never thought I would ever do in my life. And I went to Aviemore for a few days by myself. And I just went out, I was going for walks, go and get lost in the woods with my music. And honestly, it was just the best time. It was
Yeah,
so peaceful, so quiet. And I just came home so refreshed, but
yeah.
so proud and empowered at the same time because I went on my own. Like,
Do you have like a bit of anxiety doing things on your own? Because I sometimes do.
yeah.
I took like a big boy trip, shall we say? Like I went to Norwich a few years ago, for the first time by myself, and
Mm.
honestly, oh my god, my hair. See, jumping on that megabus was just it was. I had the cold sweats. I was so
Yeah.
scared to do it, but it wasn't that bad. But I think
Aye.
we build it up in we build it up in our heads.
Mhm.
It's the overthinker we were talking about.
Yes, definitely. And it's true what you say, you do build it up. You think of different scenarios and you are building them up in your head. And then when you get there, you're like, that wasn't so bad. Like, I don't know why I was so anxious. Like,
Yeah.
want to have it more? That was fine. I didn't feel any anxiety at all. Going to Asda's this morning, I felt the anxiety. It's,
Was that the Kirkcaldy Asda though?
yeah.
I didn't blame you. No. It's
I was
Kirkcaldy.
only going in for a charger.
Well. I've got
Um,
Poundland's finest here.
I did have Poundland's finest, but then it failed on me last night. So,
To be fair, I didn't get long with these. So you mentioned the bingo card of life. What does the 2025 bingo card look like?
oh God, 2025. So, definitely a few more groups up and running, get more of the teams filled, events. We would have admin stuff come in. We've got the board of trustees as well. We still need positions there. Um, this year, it's all just setting up, finding out where we can go, what's going to be needed, and just generally spreading the word and getting more people involved.
Yeah, I like that. Again, it doesn't sound a lot, but when you put the grunt work into it, or the
Yeah.
hours of the day, it's like it can be quite exhausting.
Aye.
I'm, a, I'm an HND events graduate, not blowing my own horn. So, like, I know about like the time that it takes to plan these things, to execute these things, and it's when the dust settles and everything's kind of done and dusted, and you're like, "Whew, thank God." but it's
Yeah,
rewarding. It's rewarding at the same time.
it really is. Like, I've kind of, I'm not going to say I've been solo, but there's been people on the teams at different times,
Aye.
and you need that help. Like for me, I can I can totally plow into this and get this moving and stuff, but now I'm at a point that I need help with some things.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, I've got a team starting to build up. They're absolute amazing people. Like, I have one volunteer who has no history with mental health illnesses or anything. She's coming on board because she wants to learn more about mental health and to understand it better so that she can
Love
then go and support the people around her. And I'm like, I mean, she's still at school, she's not even left school. And to have
it.
that type of mentality at that age, like, that's fantastic for me.
If you don't mind me asking, do you know how old she is?
17.
She's going to go far in life with that attitude.
Definitely. The three of
Aye.
them. I've got three Friday volunteers for Rhythm and Groove. All of them they're 17, but they're so, they've got so different qualities about them that I
Yeah.
know the kids are just going to gravitate towards them. And all of them in their own way, they're so lovely. Like, I was so happy to meet them, and I'm so happy that they're coming on board. Um, but it's kind of like what you say with the work thing, like, it's easy to see what someone's done work wise, but then you don't actually see what they've had to do behind the scenes to get to that.
Yeah. Aye.
And yeah, it's lots of meetings, lots of phone calls, lots of emails. But like you say, at the end of the day, it's worth it. You
Yeah.
know, it's going to be helping kids, not just now, but hopefully until the end of time,
Aye.
until it's no
Wait till
longer
you
needed.
just wait till you get that letter and you've got like, the big green tick to say you've got the charitable status. That'll be your 2025 bingo card full house. I can see
Oh,
it.
that would honestly, I would have a party. I would genuinely throw a party if we got the charity status this year.
Because
It's, aye.
with the charitable status, what does that then mean for mental health warriors? What can be done off the back of that?
So what we would do if we were granted the charity status, we would then become a non-profit organisation. So we would be known as the Mental Health Warriors Association. So any funding, whether it's from grants, it's from fundraising, things like that, it all goes back into the charity pot. So we can then say, right, Kirkcaldy's set up, we've got our groups getting set up in Dunfermline. Let's look and see what else and see what money we've got, sorry, and see where we can go from there.
I love it. So again, it's once that big tick comes, I think that's
Yeah.
possibly the start of it becoming bigger. Because until then, I mean, I'm sure you've got forms to fill out right, left, and centre.
Oh God, if I know. Paperwork's just endless. It's relentless. But again, I'm loving it because I've never done anything like this at all. I've always kind of worked for someone else,
Hmm.
but doing this just for me, I am honestly loving it. I'm loving everything I'm learning. I love everybody that I'm speaking to, everybody who's even just gave the nicest of comments. You know, it's it really has just made me want to push this even more to see it succeed.
Because that's the thing is, like, it's all very well, like, doing all this and, having the
Mhm.
the wheels turning. I mean, if you're anything like me at all, I don't feel guilty, I'll be sitting at, like, 1 o'clock in the morning just, like, firing out emails to everybody, and, because the reason I do that is, like, I'm a night person.
Yeah,
I hate the mornings, ugh. So, I'll do a lot of, like, admin and things like that at night,
yeah,
and if it takes a day to hear back, it takes a day to hear back. It's while it's important, obviously, these
yeah,
people. these people, like especially Five Council, for example, for you, they have to work to a 9 to 5
Yeah.
9 to 5 schedule kind of thing, eh?
Mhm.
So how is the charitable status application going? Have you is it been submitted or?
Not at the moment because we've still got a few positions on the board of trustees that need filled in.
Oh, do you need to
So
fill that first?
yeah, I need co-chair, a secretary, and a couple of other positions filled. Once we've got them all filled, we'll all go in together with Fife Voluntary Action. They'll go through everything just to make sure everybody understands what they're getting into with this and the legalities that go with being
Yeah,
on a board of trustees for a charity. Once we've got all that in, they're all fine, they've signed their agreements, that's when we'll put in the application. So what we have at the moment is the constitution that would support that application.
right.
So,
Cool. So again, like if there's anybody that's on the live that would thinking that might be something to look at, get in touch.
absolutely. Hit me
I'm
up
sure you.
on Facebook. The email address is on Facebook as well. You know, my all my contact details are on Facebook. Anybody that would be interested in helping in any way, shape, or form, it would honestly mean so much to me. Hit me up. We'll meet for informal coffees and we'll go for there.
See, I mean, there you go. I mean, again, I think it, like you said the other day, there it's sometimes a question of who you know.
Yeah. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And
Exactly.
that's something I've learned with this as well. But getting to know who you know is great because it means you're getting connections in other areas and you're all just kind of tying in together. So,
See, that's the thing as well. That's the one thing that I've kind of learned over the course of the time as well. It's like you might think that everybody's just like a normal person until you talk to them, and it's like, oh, you know how to
yeah.
do that. Oh, that will help
Yeah.
me do this, and
Yeah.
it's weird, just like how like when we started kind of talking, then I'm like, by
Mm.
the way, I'm thinking about doing a
Aye.
podcast. Do you fancy that? And you're like, do you know what I mean?
Oh,
So
definitely.
I do think that I do think that everybody brings a certain something. I just think some people maybe need, I don't want to say a bit of a push or anything, but some people just need a wee bit of encouragement, eh?
Definitely. And I think having people, like so many people surrounding you, having that support network, we all need that. We all need to have a little bit of a boost and, you know, be told just something nice, you know,
Yeah.
just be nice.
I kind of goes back to what you were talking about earlier about loving yourself.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of went through a bit of a hard time recently when I kind of touched on it. I split up in my situationship.
Aye.
We weren't really official, but oh man, and it's taken me all this time to kind of move up a stage of acceptance into
Yeah.
the anger stage. So
Yeah.
I was talking to a mutual friend earlier on, and I was like, what was it I said? I think I just said something funny like, "Oh, wouldn't it be funny if she accidentally fell down a set of stairs or something?" Obviously not meaning it, but when you
We
kind of
all say stuff like that. We've all
we
said
do,
stuff
don't
like that.
we? We do, don't we? But
Yeah.
it's I'm not quite there in regards to loving myself again yet. Um, I think
But
I'll.
you'll get there though.
Oh God, I.
That's the
Um,
thing. We fall, but we bounce back so many times. And every
oh,
time we bounce back, we're just stronger for it.
without a doubt. And I think as well as we need to learn not to let it define us. Again, it is difficult. Yeah, wee Suzanne, another wee quote there. Friendship is weird. You just find a human that you like and can talk to. I think I read that on Pinterest somewhere. By the way, I have just
That's true.
discovered Pinterest. By the way, my daughter just showed me Pinterest the other day there because she's wanting her room redecorated.
Ah, right.
Jesus, man, that is like
Mhm.
that's a landmine of stuff.
Yeah, I love Pinterest. It's where I get all the ideas for my press-on nails. I've
Ah,
got
yeah.
such a thing about my nails. I don't have them on just now. I'm actually feeling quite naked without them. But yes, I go on Pinterest, download the pictures, and send them on to my nail girl, and she bangs it out every time.
I love it. I love it.
What's
So,
happened to nails?
so we're approaching the hour mark. We did say that we're going to
Mhm.
try and keep it to an hour. Is there anything else that, in regards to the mental health warriors or mental health in general, or even just what are some of your like tips for getting back on track with life?
I would say when it comes to life, don't take everything so seriously. Don't be in a job where you're not happy. You have to be happy and content in life to be able to live life the way that you want to live it. So if you want to have this absolute amazing life where you do all these amazing things, then make it happen for yourself. Only
Yeah,
you can make it happen.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. One of the there's a lyric in one of my favourite songs that kind of pertains to that. It goes, "I believe the struggle for financial freedom isn't fair. I
Mm,
believe the only ones who'll disagree are the millionaires."
yes,
And
I like that.
I personally myself don't really come from money, but money doesn't define me. It's like we're kind of what we're talking about. It's like I can
Yeah,
look back on my life and oh, do you remember when I did this?
yeah,
Like me and my daughter are massive wrestling fans,
mm,
and a few years ago we spent the weekend in London just watching the WWE, and it was such a magical weekend away. Yeah,
yeah,
yes, it did. It cost me a shitload of money, but
mm-hmm,
it's a memory that's in here now.
yeah,
And I think people are really quick to save their money. Saving's all very
mhm,
well, but you kind of take
yeah,
it with you when you go.
exactly. And for me, when I've got my niece Kylie Joe or my nephew Tommy here, I love to spend my money on them. I love to
Aye,
spoil them.
aye,
Like they're obviously with our mum, I'm through here, so I don't get to see them as often as I'd
mhm.
like. Hi kids, I hope you're going to bed soon. Mwah.
I
Um,
will be. I know that much.
aye. But it's like you say, it's making memories. And, when it comes to kids, you make the best memories with them. They're just brilliant wee things and they're so funny.
I mean, that's the thing is kids aren't kids for long these days
No,
because it's like
definitely not.
you've got the again like the societal pressure,
Hmm.
and again that's like when I was saying about my daughter starting S1, like the
Yeah.
anxiety and stuff like that. It's and kids can be cruel in
Hmm.
general. Kids
Yeah.
can be so, I dare say it, vile,
They're savage. Like,
right?
absolute. See, compared to when I was at high school, like, yeah, we were silly wee buggers, we skipped school,
Oh,
whatever. But the ones today, I'm like, you're an actual savage. Like,
aye.
they just don't care.
That's it. They don't,
And
They don't. And
I
it's
hate to
shame
say it,
because
but
I think, like you said earlier on, I think a lot of them just act out because they're bored.
yeah, definitely. And the one thing that I hate seeing on social media, where's the parents? Parents
Aye.
cannot watch their children 24/7.
As much as we want to, because obviously as
Uh-huh.
parents we do want to protect the kids, but
Yeah.
you've also got to give them that bit of rope as well. It's a
Yeah,
definitely a double-edged sword, I think.
definitely. I'm not a parent myself, but I have two stepkids.
Aye.
And definitely, it's hard bringing up teenagers and being a teenager just now.
Oh God, aye. It
It's
is.
Aye.
I mean, I'm really lucky. Me and my daughter have got such an amazing bond. We've got
Yeah,
such a connection, man. She is like my best friend ever. Um, so I'm kind of hoping that that does like continue over time. But
yeah.
so I want to say a massive thank you for tonight. It's actually been, believe it or not, that's been an hour. Can you believe that?
That's went so fast.
It has been, and I think
Yeah,
as well, I think when you're talking about a topic that is personal, I think time just flies
yeah,
by. So,
definitely.
where can we find the Mental Health Warriors on socials?
So we are currently on Facebook just now. We are in the process of getting Instagram set up, and hopefully we'll be going on TikTok soon as well.
Love it. I love the wee bit of TikTok, me, so I do.
Yeah, got to
I
do a
do.
bit of TikTok.
I don't do any of the crazy dances, but I doom scroll through the videos at like 1 o'clock in the morning, just like, oh, I should be sleeping. But
See,
yeah,
that's I am sleeping at 1 in the morning. Like I have to. If I don't get my sleep, I am just worse
oh,
than a toddler.
I'm not a morning person either, but I. So thank you once again. Thank you to everybody that's watched this.
Yes, thank you. It's been fun. I've had fun.
It has been, it really has been. And again, if anybody wants any information on the Mental Health Warriors, look them up on Facebook, like their page, do all that. And if you're thinking about like what Danny was talking about earlier about joining the board, drop her a message. I'm sure you'll happily talk people through it.
Absolutely. I
Because I
love
mean,
talking about this.
because as you did say, there is a few kind of the red tape things that
Yeah,
most people probably aren't aware of. But
yeah,
again, it's one of those things that it's important to make
yeah,
sure what you're getting yourself into.
definitely. And that's the one thing I want is everybody to be on the same page and just let's bang this out and let's get creating something great.
Absolutely. I mean, again, it's like looking at the bigger picture. The 2025 bingo card is essentially going to be that big tick when you get the charitable status, isn't it?
Definitely. And I
Definitely.
cannot wait. Cannot wait.
Absolutely. Danny, I want to say a big massive thank you once again.
Thank
Um,
you for having me.
absolutely no worries. We'll definitely catch up in a few months'
Yes.
time because I want to know how this is all going. But I will catch you up in a minute or four. But
Yep.
see you down the road.
No bother.
Guys, that was Danny Brooks. She is amazing. She is doing honestly God's work. The mental health warriors charity thing that she's wanting to set up is it's phenomenal, and the fact it's for kids as well. Honestly, guys, Facebook them. They're on mental health warriors on Facebook. Any questions, fire them her way. She's lovely, as you can clearly tell. Thank you guys again for joining me. I think this is going to be kind of regular, I think. But from now, for me, toodaloo.